The Americans, Season 5, Episode 9. We have 4 episodes left. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, pick this track! Homies, top that.
This is a Young Camel Toe request.
Drop back. So
TK.
much money.
TK's not rocking with us. I thought you were rocking with us.
Welcome, guys, to Americans.
out.
The Americans, Season
Roll
5,
out.
Episode 9.
Roll out.
This intro track was picked by Young Camel
Young
Toe.
Camel Toe.
But it's
endorsed
relevant.
by Old Camel Toe.
Yes.
This is a very relevant song to the show because currently everybody's rolling out. Henry's rolling out of Mom and Pop's house. Gabriel just rolled out. Twan rolled out to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he dipped on it, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Henry's trying to go to New Hampshire. So everybody's rolling out this episode. So we brought you Roll Out.
But we're staying right here with you, right, TK? We stand right here. We're rocking with you, right?
We're not going to roll out on you.
We here ride or die.
I mean, on 420, we didn't do an episode, but we didn't roll out. We had work that day.
No matter what, we're here for you.
Wait, so is that why you guys didn't show up?
We had work that day.
Well, you know, this is relaxing.
She's trying to act shocked. We told her.
I didn't know you guys weren't. You didn't show up because it was 420.
No, we had work that day.
Oh, you both conveniently had to work at 420.
You
didn't
didn't
get
notice
the
that?
memo.
That was in the comments. Somebody commented that. They were like, oh yeah, Young Camel Toe didn't show up on 420, and everybody else was just like, fuck it. I was like, no, I had work that day. I really did have work that day. I was in San Jose. I wasn't even in LA.
All right, well, let's move on because I'm not even sure what just happened. But we have a lot going on, but it's like a lot that went on and a lot that has to happen, but a lot of the stuff that just didn't happen. This episode felt slow, like it's prepping us for, the gear up for everything that's going to happen. But let's talk a little bit about...
Hey, did we do the intros yet?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
No
You
problem.
guys threw me out with the music, and apparently you guys were
Roll
smoking
out.
or...
We're very
in San
distracting
Jose.
over here.
I was working for Google. My name is Emmanuel Wright, aka Young Camel Toe. You can find me on Instagram.
Yeah, very respectable.
Hey,
when
Young
he rolls
Camel
out.
Toe. Tell me who's your main man. Al Grag, how
Yeah.
you look so
Emmanuel,
good?
right. TK Trinidad, we up in here.
I see you actually really did take down a few buttons on your shirt.
Oh yeah,
Ladies, peep it
the
out.
taco meat.
That's
You
what I'm
gotta let
saying.
the taco meat out.
Yeah.
I'm
Let it breathe.
I put the A in America.
So, Gabriel and Martha.
Introducing.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
I know.
There you go.
See, we're so bad for
I
TK.
just
We always
wanna-
messing her up. We always messing up
I
the
just want to
format.
get the show.
She just wants to get over
the
with.
show.
My name is TK Trinidad, y'all. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. I really appreciate a lot of tweets and all that good stuff, and the comments. Really appreciate that. Oh, actually, shout out to Leslie, Mikey P, and Renee for hopping on the comments. You guys had I don't know if you guys got to check out the YouTube page from last week, but they had like in-depth analysis on the episode.
Oh, it's been popping.
Definitely shout out to you guys. Really appreciate it. Sorry for the one-liners, but I read it all. Really appreciate all that good stuff.
TK's on it.
Well, somebody does.
Somebody has to hold us down. And by the way, everybody, TK, did you adjust your television sets the color? Notice the tangerine blouse, you know what I mean? And the contrast it has on that brown skin. Looking very very splashy over there.
So Gabriel and Martha,
Thank you.
potatoes.
Al Grag.
Starches.
Wait, everybody, Al Grag. I'll keep it short. You can follow me on Twitter at Jamaica House Doc. And you can follow me on IG at @alg_Jamaica House.
Why did it take like 20 minutes to do all that?
Baked potatoes. She didn't even have no cheese on top. How dare she?
It looked like she did have some sour cream
She
or
had
something on
some,
top of there. Or maybe butter.
it was
Anyways, so yes, you're right. Gabriel and Martha. So Martha is in Russia. She's been there for a while. It felt like you had mentioned it when we were watching the show that Gabriel's kind of almost doing his farewell tour before he either commits suicide or die or somebody kills him. So he went to Martha to see how she's doing, and she obviously is miserable because the one thing, obviously they didn't think about that, and nor should they, but Martha didn't have a lot of friends in America.
Right.
So to think that she's going to go to another place and reinvent herself after she's been, the same way she's been, like it's not changing for her to, all of a sudden have friends that's not.
And you can tell just the whole process in the move is like physically worn on her.
Right.
She was a woman of age, but she was vivacious. She's not a bad lady. She's very sexual. They put the prosthetics on her. You could tell, like with her face. They try to add a little weight to her. She's just looking, more depressing, a little bit frumpy. We feel sorry for her.
Well, I feel too like she didn't get that closure from Philip, but I forgot what his
Clark.
Yeah, she didn't really get the closure, and it was all a lie. So she didn't really get to like process that. Like she was, legitimately in love. She thought she got married. She sacrificed all this stuff for him. She was doing all this stuff for him, doing all this illegal stuff for him. Come to find out, he's not even who he said he was. And now she got into so much dirt that she's going to Russia, and she thinks he's gonna follow her at least. And he's like, no, this is the last time you're gonna see me. Like. And now she's in a foreign country, doesn't speak the language, is in this little flat by herself, and she's like making do. She can't talk to her parents. Like that's a lot.
That sounds like a party to me. It's a new country. It's like studying abroad.
That's all in the way you look at it, right?
You know what I mean? She's by herself. She has no friends or family, no ties. Like, you in Russia.
What I do like, though, she wasn't taking Gabriel's shit anymore. He tried to hit her with the BS line, well, we're all here for the best of you. And he was just like...
Well, she is being taken care of.
But I mean, she was totally lied to, used, and strung out, and, which is, I want to come back to that later on with some other characters. I think that's a theme we keep coming across.
Right. Well, yes, I definitely agree with that. But on the flip side, they could have said, look, we're sending you here and because essentially they have almost no reason to even, do what they said they were going to do because of everything that they've done in the past. So they could say, oh, we're sending you to Russia, and they could have been like, all right, gave her $200 and like, all right, we'll see you when we see you. So, I mean, the fact that they're actually honoring their word on the back end of it, it's not necessarily what she wants, but, she's being taken care of. Somebody's teaching her language. Somebody's like taking care of her needs. All
she got baked
stuff.
Potatoes.
Well, I think that she had a slight upgrade from the grocery store where there was nothing the last time we saw her. So, good for her to an extent. Do you think she's gonna pull out of it, or do you think it's just kind of she's either gonna obviously she doesn't seem like the type to like commit suicide, but do you think she's gonna kind of adjust or just kind of...
I don't know what her next move is, but I just like the fact that she honestly came to a realization and she finally processed everything that happened. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I did. I got used, and this is the situation I'm in right now. And it's kind of fucked up, but it is what it is. But don't basically, excuse my language. Don't try to like pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Language so harsh.
Baked potatoes.
Well, since we're still in Russia, let's talk a little bit about Oleg and his whole scenario. So he had a really in-depth conversation with his father. So what do you guys think about that?
I feel sorry for Oleg's dad. He's in a tough situation, and I know he felt a lot of guilt over his wife being put in the camp. And I was trying to read between the lines. Does he feel any guilt for betrayal or just the fact that it happened? But yeah, I thought that was a really deep scene, and I was glad that him and Oleg finally had the heart to heart.
Right. And then what about, so now there's a lot of things going on where it feels like Stan has to make a decision to either rat Oleg out, and then it just seems like KGB is pressuring Oleg to kind of get in touch with Stan to kind of figure all of that out. So do you think they're both eventually going to just say, it is what it is, and tell their respective parties this is how you get a hold of this individual? Or
well, side note to consider on that, one of the things that Dennis brought up a couple of episodes when he was telling Stan about somebody that eventually flipped, and the guy thought it was going to be the end of his life because they were going to blackmail him, ended up being the best thing for him.
Right.
So along those lines, I'm feeling that Oleg has always had 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Right.
And I think maybe, that might be the best thing for him. I don't know if it can happen anymore.
Right.
He kind of missed the opportunity to flip, and Stan kind of denied him the opportunity to get out. I just think that's just really interesting.
I think Oleg and Stan are going to continue to, I guess help each other out. But yeah, help each other out.
I don't know, if Oleg decides to help Stan out on the American side of it, would they bring him, it doesn't seem like they would. They would, how essentially Russia's taking care of Martha. It doesn't seem like they would do that for Oleg.
Well, they won't do that for Oleg, but Oleg can keep, playing that role of, I didn't get that much info on him.
I thought he did a good job
convincing.
of playing that, just as far as like giving them just enough information. Like,
Right.
I know what they're fishing for, so let me tell them the only person I talked to is Stan. I haven't talked to him. Yes, I had a relationship with Nina. Yes, I was, salty about it, but what can you do? So I got to give it to Oleg. He's pretty sharp on his toes. He knows how much to say.
Well, I think too he's protecting himself because like if he gives all the information and now he has no information to give, then he's pretty much. I mean, he's still aside from being an informant, he's still doing another job. But this job that he's doing as far as the grocery stores and all that stuff, they can find somebody else to do that. So it's kind of like he's almost not important if they were to kill him or if he were to disappear. So I think he's almost he's realizing that they can take him out. So he's gonna make himself what's the word? Important enough so they can't take him out. So kind of balance that. I think he sees that like okay, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's he's smart enough to know like I'll kind of give them the breadcrumbs until I figure out what I'm gonna do. Because it seems like he's getting pushed up against a wall, backed up against a wall. So. I don't
And
know.
his family too,
Yeah, I don't know. That's a scary.
His brother's already on a wall.
Yeah, we don't want to see Oleg on the wall. We
Yeah.
want to see Oleg
Off the wall.
Off the wall.
Rolling out of Russia. Luda.
So let's move to America. Let's talk about Dmitry. So Oleg met up with Dmitry in the jail. So what do you think of that whole situation? I don't even think. Do you think Dmitry is going to get out?
Well, Dmitry finally decided, to give up that precious name, but I think there's going to be more consequences. Obviously, more than Oleg knows, more than the KGB knows.
Right.
And this is just a prediction because he keeps talking about these powerful people.
Right.
First, I thought, okay, did he mean powerful people who are connected, like perhaps like Oleg's dad, people who are high in the administration? I'm thinking more powerful people like the Russian mob, because as we all know, the Russian mob basically took over after the Soviet Union fell, and we don't want to just go into the history of Vladimir Putin and his connections. But basically, I think that's the unheard of factor that the Russian mob, the Russian crime family, and how they tied in with the rich oligarchs of Russia.
So you think Dmitry, it's kind of that situation. He doesn't want to give them up because either way he's gonna die.
Either way, yeah. If he tells the people who put him on, like the mob or whatever, Russian mob, they're gonna get him. If he tells on the government, they're gonna get him. He's kind of screwed.
But if he doesn't tell on the mob, then his family seems safe. But it feels like if he tells on the mob, not only is he gonna die, but the whole family's gonna die too.
True.
So it kind of almost makes sense. Like, okay, well, I might as well just
Stay with the mob.
sacrifice myself for my family.
Which is an interesting question. Why do you guys think he eventually flipped then? Is it just like Oleg that good of an interrogator when he mentioned his family?
Well, I think some people are just not built for jail.
Right.
I mean he had enough space in there, like the visual that they gave us, but solitary confinement. If you notice the color of everything, and then Oleg handed him an apple. That apple was
A red juicy apple.
How they did the color type thing is kind of like, okay, and it looked like he was cold.
Yeah.
So it just kind of looked like some people are not built for that type of.
Go ahead, TK. The visual metaphor. She's talking about the desaturated colors in the frame versus the juicy saturated red apple.
The low exposure.
Did you get some this week or something? What's wrong with you?
The color board was different.
40-year-old virgin. I'm holding out.
Yeah, he's never got anything. Wait for marriage, kids.
That's right.
He may also think that Oleg could possibly help him. Like if I, slowly give Oleg info, maybe he'll slowly help me out.
But it doesn't seem, maybe because we're just watching it, but it just seems like Oleg can scratch the surface, kind of tell somebody about the situation, but Oleg has absolutely no power.
But he doesn't know that. He just gave him that sentimental story about his brother being on a wall,
right.
And now his mom's a ghost. So, that story kind of...
It worked.
Maybe, yeah. I'll help you out.
All right, well, we'll see. So moving to America. So let's talk a little bit about... Let's go to Henry.
He's rolling out, folks. Roll out.
Henry wants to bounce.
Henry in New Hampshire. Top that.
Henry wants to get out. His parents don't pay any attention to him. He's very close to his new quote girlfriend, his new friend's family.
That's his girlfriend.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
Chris.
The girlfriend.
Well, it's also Chris. Chris too is. I think that was Chris.
Yeah.
Chris and the girl is the three of them that he wanted to go to school with.
And the girlfriend's father's like writing him recommendation letters. So I mean, and I think that's why Philip is so torn. I don't know if you guys peeped that, because Elizabeth was like, okay, you know, he wants to go. He's earned it. He's done a good job. Philip knows that he hasn't been in his son's life, and you know, just to take it back to like, you know, the further psyche is that, you know, his dad was missing, and that he's had this missing son that he never even got to see.
Right.
So I think like his son Henry is like his last possible chance to kind of like fix things.
But he's not gonna fix things, and he knows that, so he should just let Henry go off.
Well,
He doesn't have time for him.
That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy.
Or is it just the fact that, because Philip did mention it, like he's like, okay, well, like, look at this house that we're in. Like, is it just the fact that Philip's like, I've worked this hard, and you have this great house, and you're in this great community, and now you want to go to this, you know, country club, but you're living well here, whereas when I was your age, like, I didn't even have a house. So I mean, I definitely understand the whole father thing, but just on a, you know, on a almost slap in your face type levels, like, I'm literally killing people for you.
Yeah.
And you know, this is not good enough for you, and you know, you've already made plans, like you didn't even discuss it with me.
American kids taking it for granted.
He just wants a different experience. I feel him go away to boarding school, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, especially if it's for the right reasons. Obviously there's, you know, kid stuff that, you know, he's not gonna tell his parents, like whether there's parties or whatever.
Oh, there's parties.
But it seemed like for the right reason. Like, it definitely legitimately felt like, you know, he wants to do something with his education. He knows that he's smart. He can, you know, capitalize on it and move forward, opposed to, it's like he's overshadowing Paige, where Paige, you know, thought she was this nerd, this brainiac, and it comes so simple for Henry, where he's like, oh, school's a joke to me now. And if I want to be successful in whatever I want to do, I need to go somewhere that's going to challenge me. So if he's going for those reasons, then like definitely go. If he's going for the chick, I'm like, not so much.
And it makes Philip's and Elizabeth's life so much easier.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have one less person to tell lies to now.
Right. But it's going to be interesting as the setup, because like I said, we have 4 episodes left. So say they let Henry go, which I definitely see is going to happen. The next season, I don't know if they're going to do like a fast forward or whatever, because I hope they do bring Henry back to see.
And I hope he's in the CIA.
Well, or something to that effect, or like he discovers that, you know, he's like a male version of Elizabeth. Like he can
Compartmentalize.
Thank you. Everything. So it's just kind of like he's able to say, oh, I can do this, and I can, you know, like we said last week, I can balance 2 chicks, and I can do this, and I can
be in New Hampshire slinging that rock.
Yeah.
New Hampshire slinging the rock.
Slinging that rock.
Slinging them books. Slinging them grades.
Slinging them rocks.
So do you think they're going to let him go?
Yes.
You think so?
Definitely.
But what about Stan?
What do you mean?
He has to break the news. He has to break the news to Stan. That was his BFF.
That's the biggest problem here. Stan.
Well, I mean,
Beeman.
Yeah, that's a relationship.
Stan will be okay.
Oh no.
No, first of all, Henry's not even of age yet, so it's not like a relationship.
No,
he's like a mentor.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, I think Stan was treating him like a son, because Matthew was pretty much ignoring him.
Yeah, but Stan would be happy for him, because as a real mentor would be, he'd be like, oh my gosh, you want to better yourself? Go ahead.
Okay.
So many options with this Henry thing. Help us out in the chat, you guys. If you have an idea, let us know what's going on.
Henry's actually not going to New Hampshire. He's going off to New England to do some crazy stuff. Enjoying the Patriots, wide receiver.
You never know, Henry. He's a talented dude, man.
Very talented.
So actually, this little bit of a twist. So Philip goes and meets with a priest in the hospital. What did you think of that whole scenario? Because essentially, there's a void, which I thought, what is her name? Gabriel, the heavy set lady.
Matilda, Mrs. Crunchbull look like.
Claudia?
Yes, Claudia. I thought she was gonna be in the place of Gabriel. That's what I thought. But this priest is coming to Philip to fill him in on all the stuff that he used to tell Gabriel until his replacement comes in. So, which is kind of odd. Like, I didn't know there were 2 separate jobs. I felt like Claudia, like, she had so many issues, and they didn't trust her, that they just brought in Gabriel to deal with Elizabeth and Philip, and Claudia dealt with all the other spies. But it seems like they have 2 separate jobs.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Philip got assigned to the priest temporarily.
Yeah.
But what was more interesting than like the other priests he's spying on and keeping tabs on, meeting with other foreigners, was always coming back to kind of like that spiritual element, reevaluating like, how's it going for you? This job is tough. You know, you should pray, and that's been mentioned like 2 or 3 times throughout the series. So I think it's, I don't know, man. It's just, what more does Philip need to know to get the heck out? What other signs does he need?
But where is he gonna go?
You know, get the IDs and, you know, bounce to Cuba or wherever they need to go.
It's the KGB.
Well, wherever they can go. Wherever,
Because-
Spain, you know,
Because look at, for instance,
Africa,
New Hampshire.
Libya.
So look, for instance, and this was a messy situation, so we can kind of skip to. So Stan went to go and see his wife, Gad's wife. So Gad is Stan's boss. He retired, or he got kicked out of the force. Him and his wife went to Thailand. Gad got killed by the KGB. The CIA kind of found a tip that the KGB was the one who killed Gad, but they were trying to essentially kind of solid that up. So they wanted Stan to go and talk to the wife. And it's just kind of like, if they can find Gad in Thailand,
That's
like,
true.
where are you gonna run?
I mean, you know,
You could only run for so, and then the kids are getting older, so they're gonna get tired of running.
you know, I mean, I guess, and that's like the tragedy of their situation too. Maybe they can't run.
So
But along those lines, though, yeah, I like the scene when Stan went to go visit Gad's wife, and again on that theme of abandonment, he was like, "Has anybody come to visit you?" She was like, "No, you're the first person." So basically, you know, her husband works in the feds for all these years. Nobody comes to visit them.
right.
Nobody's keeping tabs on her. And then basically Stan comes up and he's like, "Well, we could get revenge, but it really wouldn't be the right person. So maybe we should not do it." That was hilarious. I couldn't believe he said that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he said
Well, I
that.
think because they're trying to target Oleg, and Stan doesn't want Oleg to get killed.
Clearly,
Right.
but obviously I think the way the Fed's looking, probably the way she looks at whoever you can get, right?
Right.
Anybody. Just get somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of. But did you? I mean, that is kind of weird. Well, they didn't know it was the KGB, how her husband died. So she comes back, and yeah, it is kind of weird that nobody bothers to check on her because he was in the force. So you think there might be, like, they didn't even bother to see if there was a connection or see if she's okay. So that is kind of a.
And that's, I think, one of the running things, whether you're in the KGB or the FBI. It's like they use you up, they spit you out, and nobody cares about you once they're done with you.
Well, they do care about. Well, they do fake care about Martha.
Fake care,
Martha's getting taken care of.
the bare minimums,
Well,
bare minimums.
She's getting meals. I mean, compared
She's
to
getting potatoes.
compared to
meals.
Gad's wife,
Right.
she's getting more care versus Gad's wife. Nobody comes and visits her.
Yeah, but just
So-
compared to the Martha we know. I
But
just felt
Martha
really
was
bad.
doing more for the cause than Gad's wife.
Martha was giving that information.
Yeah.
So Martha
And she was
deserves
giving
it.
that dome.
Yes, she was.
She didn't even know about it. Now she's eating baked potatoes. She still doesn't know about it. Baked potatoes aren't that good for you people. I learned that the hard way. Too many starches. You can't eat too many baked potatoes. Like, it's bad for you.
How many baked potatoes are you eating?
I usually eat just bags of them. Like, straight up.
Why?
Because it was easy to make. You just grab some, throw them in the oven, come back like 30 minutes later. Used to be like a after school snack. Now I
I
got
like
sick.
baked potatoes. Yeah, man. The carb factor, that was killing us.
The starches, man.
Yeah.
Don't eat the green ones.
Oh, Twan.
He rolled out
Twan rolled out,
Pennsylvania.
and he got busted too.
So Elizabeth,
Booyaka.
she felt like Twan was lonely, so she went to the house one day. Twan didn't show up until like 3:00 in the morning, so she tells Philip something's going on.
She
Obviously,
thought he was cheating on him.
something.
He's cheating on me. He didn't come home.
So they decide to get the whole squad together and they tail him. So Elizabeth, Philip, Norm, and Marilyn, I believe her name is, they all tail Twan, which is kind of funny because they trust Twan enough to do all the other things as far as Pasha and all this other stuff. So how would they figure that Twan wouldn't know he's being tailed? But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, and he figured out they were tailing him.
Right.
But I guess they had to figure out, and I still don't think Philip and Elizabeth should take him at his word. Basically, they cornered him, threw him up against the wall. I'm going to see my old adopted family. My sick brother has
Well,
leukemia.
he wasn't seeing that. He was just gonna make a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was going to visit him, and then he stopped. I don't know.
But
Yeah, why would he go all the way over there just to make a
well,
call?
because it felt like from what I got, and of course you guys, well, I didn't even say it correctly. You guys are going to correct me anyway. But from what I caught, was that he found out that the family that he was with before, the brother is sick. So versus calling the brother, because when he got this job, he essentially like left because now he's a spy. So instead of calling from the state so they can track him, he goes to another state and calls him to see how he's doing, because it feels weird to go and see him. Like it felt like he would just go call him, see how he's doing, and then come back.
That could be. I just assumed he was going to see him, but I could be
Right.
wrong. But what one of the most telling parts about it, I don't know. Twan, I still don't believe him. Elizabeth believes him, but I still don't believe him. And I still think to really follow that up, they need to follow him again and verify it.
Well, yeah. Well, a couple of things. They could do one or two things. They could. Yeah. It feels like Elizabeth did believe him, but Philip doesn't. So it feels like
They could always make a phone call.
Yeah, make a phone call to like if the phone call thing is like he goes to another state to make a phone call, then they can track that down from whatever payphone he uses.
Yeah.
If he is actually going to see the brother, that's even easier because they can just verify and essentially have somebody call the house and say, has anybody we're so sorry, blah blah blah, and see if he's actually going to see the house.
Which I hope they verify. I just hope they don't
Right.
sweep that under the rug next week.
So it's kind of I don't know. I feel like, do you think Philip's son is going to come back into the picture?
I hadn't even thought about that one.
I don't know. I feel like they just tied it up, and it's not. Like,
Yeah, no, it's
unfinished
definitely a
business.
dangling thread.
I mean, he
you
could
know,
always just come back in the last episode, and then they do like a little backtracking,
or next season.
I don't know. I feel like he has to know.
Maybe that's what Gabriel's up to. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna bring him back.
That might be interesting because Gabriel does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sees.
He didn't need to go and see Martha.
Yeah.
We were talking about how Gabriel is on his amends tour.
Right.
He has all these
Yeah.
regrets, wrongs he's trying to make right. So I think that's something that's very plausible. What was I going to say? Also on the Twan tip, what did you guys
On the
think
Twan.
on the Twan tip? What did you guys think of Philip's assessment that this could be him? An unconscious way, this acting out as an unconscious way of saying, I want to get out. I thought that was more Philip speaking
That's
his
not him.
mind.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if you guys
Elizabeth
saw
was
that in
right.
Twan at all.
That's not Twan. Twan's really for the cause. Though.
Yeah, but
He doesn't want to
they
get
wouldn't
out.
send him back though.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Twan
They're like,
knows the
okay,
game.
yeah, we'll give you a ticket on Tuesday, and he's gonna get a ticket as far as a bullet in his head. Like it doesn't seem like, oh, no worries, thank you for all your help.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Here, turn
and,
in your time sheets.
here you can go back to me. Like I don't.
And
that's-
I don't think Twan thinks that would have happened, but I guess I'm looking at the way Philip looks at people's
Subconscious.
actions subconsciously. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It feels like Philip has been in for so long. The fact that he would even possibly think that he can get out, they're too far.
I
in
don't
it
know.
now.
I just hold them in such high esteem. They're just like the dope partnership. I
Right.
feel like if they wanted to,
It's like a Sound
they
of Music
wanted-
type thing. They just go to another
They-
Well,
country.
Philip did just lose his son, kind of, too. In the same day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, man, first my real son wants to leave me. Now my fake son is leaving me on
And
the
then I
slide.
have another son. I have no idea where he
know?
is.
Yeah.
And peep the fourth betrayal. Okay, you guys remember in the opening scene where they're playing back the conversation because Philip had planted on his underage
Kimmy.
girlfriend's dad, Kimmy's,
Yeah.
dad, her little briefcase. He had planted a little mic or whatever, and he's recording all of his conversations. He's playing them back, and basically, just as a refresher, people don't remember, Kimmy's dad, he's like a CIA head of the Afghans, head of the Afghan war, running that for the U.S. And our partners over there and our proxies were the Mujahideen. But they were basically talking about how one of them, some of the Mujahideen had gotten killed, and they were talking about, well, look at this. It was like a chemical murder. Like,
Right.
look at all this blood. We've never seen this before. And Philip starts putting two and two together. He was told by Gabriel, oh yeah, we would only use this if the U.S. attacked us with nukes.
Right.
When they obviously, at least to me, turned around and just used it, as chemical warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, how often do we see these like minimum betrayals, these lies, or these promises that Gabriel or that the agency or that the KGB has told Philip, and he's always seeing like how they're false. He's always discovering what they told him was wrong.
Right. Well, I think on that side of things, it just feels like there's so many layers to it, and Philip is somewhere at the bottom of the totem pole. So they're not gonna tell him everything. Like imagine imagine what's going on in the government here. We probably know maybe if we're lucky 5% of what's really going on. That's just taking out the Democrats and the Republicans. Just basically attacks that are happening against this country that we have no idea.
TK, you make a good spy. You think like a good spy, but personally, I don't know. Knowing that your handler can't tell you the whole truth, I get it. I just hate being lied
like
to.
A good spy.
No, you're real shrewd like that. Another point. Case in point. Here's an ethical question. Philip and his underage girlfriend Kimmy. We forgot about Kimmy.
Yeah, she turned 17 though.
Did they ever sleep together?
Wait, this is. They
cake.
back in the day though.
No, this is current.
Yeah,
He's been consistently changing those tapes for like 2 years.
I get that, but it's back in those days. It's not like now. It's back in those days.
You're saying context. Okay,
Yeah,
my question is,
context.
do you think they slept together?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
As a spy, right? As a spy, you gotta do what you gotta
I
do.
don't know.
Bad.
It feels like
What's the legal age in Russia? 16.
yeah, but I don't think it feels like Philip was able to navigate it around to develop that. Like it feels like she's getting it from somewhere else because like
really?
he's still coming once a week, but he's almost providing that dad boyfriend relationship where she's having maybe little Timmy from high school knocking it back.
Speak on it, TK.
So-
Knocking at that.
I
You
said
heard
knocking it back.
Oh, knocking it back.
Yeah.
All right. She's rolling out and knocking it back.
Rolling out, knocking it back.
Because you just see how the relationship was like when he brought her the cake. It was very like fatherly.
Yeah, but she bit her lip when she saw him.
Right, like I want some of that.
No, I want some of that.
But they didn't really. I don't know. They didn't really like.
It was sexual.
He didn't
it was
really give
tension.
that. He didn't give that because he didn't notice how Philip was with like Martha or even I think her name was Dolores or whoever the other chick was.
But he was supposed to be married to Martha.
Yeah, but the other relationships that he had, even playing the different characters, like you can kind of tell that he's like doing that. Whereas her, it seems like it's very
But
like
he
he's
also-
treating her like he would treat Paige.
But here's the thing. He also realizes that she's young. So if he does treat her like he treats Martha, then she's going to really get feelings from, you know what I mean? That young love. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to be together forever.
Yeah, but she's 17, so no matter what he does, like she's going to like have that love for him.
And let's talk about it. Though. More importantly than like the physical aspect, it's just like like the mind, emotional connection. He's the daddy figure. Her dad's too busy for
like the
her.
fact that he's a grown man and he can come to her house every week. And like not even like how like you're in a situation and you're waiting for something to happen, so you're always on edge. Like the fact that he was comfortable, he brought a cake, he was singing to her, they were chilling on the couch.
He dropped the mic.
He possibly dropped the mic and something else. Like the fact that he does all of that, like that speaks a lot to. There's clearly abandonment issues, and she's just happy that somebody attentive and older, and somebody who doesn't feel like they're after one thing. Like he's providing that. Like that's what I'm saying. Where it feels like they established a certain type of relationship where they don't even need to have sex. Like she could be getting it from somewhere else because she seems like that when we first met her, she seemed like she was ready.
More importantly, he's got this. That's the main thing.
Tell me when you're ready. Seems like you're ready.
R. Kelly, ladies and gentlemen.
All night.
Take it back.
Step.
So,
side
do you
to
sing
side.
while you're doing this, or do you play the music in the background?
Round and round, hit the back, separate, bring it back. Let me see you do the love.
Ladies.
stuff.
He'll sing to you.
I didn't know how we got from the American to R. Kelly. I just don't even-
We were just talking about Philip smashing some chick for way too long, so I had to bring him R. Kelly.
You talking about Philip smashing a chick for way too long?
Yeah. That was
If Kimmy was ready, he was talking
it
about
was
if
like,
Kimmy was ready.
You talked about ready, and then I started singing.
Seems like she's ready.
Seems like she's
Well,
ready.
she clearly is, but I don't think Philip is doing her.
I'm just saying we talked about it for like 3 minutes, so I started singing about it.
So when we talk about a certain subject for enough time, then you develop a song and start singing?
Pretty much.
What are your predictions?
Gabriel is helping out Phillips.
No predictions like-
Oh, yeah. Nah, we too popping for the lights.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV
They're late this time. They always talking about us
Yeah,
being
'cause you
late
started-
on the Buzz You
I
Later.
know, right?
You started,
Hey,
you started
don't
singing.
call me on the Buzz You Later
You started
anymore.
singing, and he took his earphones off and was like, I can't.
No.
And then he realized that you stopped, and he's like, oh, crap.
No,
like,
he
you
started
missed the
making
point.
some hot chocolate. He started thinking about his ex. That's what happened.
Shout out to our engineer. They're holding us down.
Thinking about it. How do you know he's not in a relationship?
Player. No, I said it's his ex. Like, you could be in a relationship and still think about your ex.
Why? It's an ex.
But you could just, that could have been the song that they used.
Why?
Why not? That's
Is that
a
what
great
you
song.
do?
No.
Predictions.
Gabriel is helping out Philip's lost son.
I like
He's gonna
that.
bring him
I
back.
like that. Gabriel gonna try to bring him back.
Yup.
What else? My prediction: the Russian mob is the unspoken factor, that Dmitry was beholden to, because that's the only part of like the influential part of the government or Russia that they haven't talked about yet. So I'm speculating. Twan, I think Twan's lying. And here's another thing why I think they should report him. And I hate the whole snitching thing or whatever. But
Snitches get stitches.
snitches get stitches. But Twan is giving that whole vibe the whole time about are you doing this on point or you're not doing this enough? He's just always giving me like that weaselly, kind of like manipulating, kind of keeping them at bay.
Right.
If you mess up, I might tell on you. Just his whole attitude. So I never trusted him. So I have no reason to trust him right now or believe him.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, Henry Page.
Henry's
You just like talking about 3 characters.
Henry's gonna go away. I like the idea of being able to put him on ice and keep him safe. My thing is, I want to know how are he and Philip gonna reconcile? Because that's the one thing that hasn't happened.
Henry's gonna come back as CIA.
Henry and Philip haven't reconciled their relationship, and that'll complete the arc, of all Henry's other daddy issues as well.
Wait, so do you think Henry has an issue?
No.
I
don't
think
think so.
You guys don't think? I think.
No.
Personally, his parents don't pay attention to him.
Paige has a problem.
Yeah,
Henry
but it
is
doesn't.
the rock.
You know how some kids couldn't function, say 2 situations. Some kids, they grow up in a family where everything's going awry, but for some reason they manage to get themselves together and make it work for them. And some kids could be the total opposite. They get everything and their parents pay enough, so much attention with them, but for some reason they go do the total opposite. To me, it just seems like Henry he was just kind of, I don't know if I want to say gifted, but he just seems like that kid, oh, okay, cool.
Low maintenance.
I know they love me.
Okay, see,
I need to do me.
the flip side of that is that yes, he can be like the low maintenance kid, but I'm thinking there's always a cost.
Right.
What's the theme of this? There's always a cost. What's missing in that relationship?
Well, it might, come into play when he's either dealing with other men or women. It's just no matter what, we're all a product of our experiences. So Philip could have been the best dad, and then Philip could have been too much of a dad, and now Henry could know. It's a balance. So it just feels like Henry is just that type of kid. I know they love me. I'm good.
And maybe it's not so much about Henry. Maybe it's more about Philip reconciling.
Yeah. Philip is definitely the emotional one.
Yeah.
On the flip side, same with Paige. So Paige is the type of person that she can. We've seen her all these seasons. She can go either way. Where you're like, chick needs to die. You know what I'm saying? So it's just she's so emotional that she's not really You can't send her to somewhere like New Hampshire because she's gonna think, oh, my parents hate me, and there's gonna be so many unresolved issues.
She's not ready.
Yeah, she's not ready. Henry looks like, I'm good. Mom, dad like me. I got a sister.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I can handle my grades. So let me just try to,
I'm
do my
tired
own
of being
thing.
on this TV show.
Yeah.
Please don't write me in the next script. I want to go to New Hampshire and do a different show.
Henry,
Y'all is too slow for me. I'm playing video games.
break it down.
Catch me on GGN.
Catch me outside.
Yeah, I definitely think Henry's gonna go. I think Paige is gonna, we saw I don't know if you guys saw the episode or
The previews.
Thank you. The previews for next week, but seems like Paige she's trying to be a spy, but she's not ready. She hasn't gone through.
As you
training.
said, some people ain't built for it.
Yeah.
She's a Carmen Sandiego.
Who's Carmen Sandiego?
She's that one black lady with the red outfit, the red tracksuit.
She was
back in
black.
the
I
day.
thought she was Hispanic.
No, she was black.
Oh.
The original one was black. It was that one lady with the big smile. I forget her name though. but she had like a big mouth. Like whenever she talked, her mouth like
Why
spread.
would
Lots
you
of
remember
teeth.
that?
I remember that. That was one of the reasons I started watching her. Like, oh my
Guys
God.
notice that.
She had a big mouth. It was kind of like when you watch Bob Ross, the painter, with the afro, and like the first thing you noticed was his voice. Like, oh my gosh, how does he talk like that? It was the same reaction. Like, oh my God, how does she open her mouth like that on like every syllable? Hello, folks. Today we're going to save the. Whoa, bruh. Your jaw on her right now.
So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Paige. I definitely think she's gonna get into some trouble. Yeah, it's gonna come to a head where Elizabeth. I don't know. Philip is gonna go through a little breakdown too. Like he's gonna be like, I want to get out of the situation. I don't know how, and he's gonna talk to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth's gonna look at him like there's no way out. Like,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But
He's hinted at it, and Elizabeth's been shutting him down all these years. Like, he's like, well, why don't we just go away? And Elizabeth always looks at him like he's crazy. And I think there was one point where she kind of agreed with him, but it's like, well, where are they gonna go? And then now Henry's gonna be in New Hampshire. Like, Paige is asking a billion questions. Could you imagine traveling with all of that? Like, what are you gonna do?
They should send Paige to boarding school.
She wouldn't last, though. She wouldn't last because then because say somebody bullies her and she's like, my parents are spies, or Paige like then she tries to pull out like some move that she hasn't really fully like learned yet. Tries to put somebody in like a rear naked chokehold, and Paige doesn't do it effectively, and she gets like kicked
Now,
in
what
the
if they
stomach.
just broke it down to her like, hey, Paige, we want you to go to a boarding school. Me and your father have some things we need to work out, and we think it'd be better for our family and our safety if you just left.
Yeah, Paige wouldn't last. No.
there you go.
She could barely deal with Matthew down the street.
Yeah, but that's Matthew down the street. If you
Yeah.
just put her in a different environment with some different people doing different things, maybe Paige will turn around. Maybe Paige just needs to jump off the plank and just see what happens. That's how you learn, people.
Jump off the plane.
Jump off the plank, not the plane.
Jump
the
off
plank.
the plank.
Yeah, go for a swim.
And
Just try
jump
it
in
out.
with both feet.
You know what I mean? Jump in.
Some people do that and some people don't. Some people like, easing into the pool. Some people like jumping into the pool. I don't think I think it's just based off of your personality.
But
What
I
works
think
for
when you jump in though, like you either gonna swim or you gonna drown. And most people swim. Paige will swim.
How do you know that?
Paige will swim.
How do you know most people swim?
Most people figure it out, or they go to the bottom and bounce back, or they buoy it, or they scream for help. But they find some way out.
You think so?
They jump off the plank and they find some way out.
I don't know. I don't
What do you guys think out there in the comment section? Let us know.
I don't think. I
Jump
don't,
off the plank to jump
I
off plank
think
or
what
to
happens,
not.
they people jump off and then they realize that they don't like that feeling, and then they either stay stagnant in whatever they're doing in life, so they stay doing whatever, and they're afraid to jump off again, which is a lot of the population. Else we would have more 1%ers. That's the reason we only have 1%ers.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
but you can't have that many 1%ers though.
Technically, in theory,
Well,
but the reason,
economically,
economically as well, but the reason why we don't, like, imagine all the ideas people have had that they didn't, use because they're afraid of, losing money or all these other things. They didn't want to jump in because they've done it before, and they're afraid. It's essentially afraid of failure. So only few people are actually willing to take that. So that's what I'm saying. How are you going to say many?
Well, all right. First of all, jumping the plank is not Paige going and chasing her dream. Jumping the plank would just be sending off Paige to a boarding school for a year.
Right, and then
That's not a plank. That's
then
like
you
a mini
have her
plank.
jump off, and she realizes that, oh my God, I can't handle this because it's two things.
Or she meets Matthew 2.5 and she
What?
just stays
Then
at
she
boarding
gets like the
school.
penis, and it's all good.
No, she just finds a new group of friends, maybe parents who aren't KGB spies or just mentors that are, father and mother figures, and she has like a normal
Yeah,
American
but we
life.
saw what happened with her and Pastor Tim. Like, it doesn't. I
Well,
don't.
Pastor Tim was a creep. Come on. I'm just saying, like, normal people. Like, I play baseball on the weekends. I eat hot dogs every other day. Americans.
Is that what you do?
No, Americans back in those days.
Oh,
That's what I figured. Baked potatoes or whatever they do, chips, spaghetti, French fries,
Sounds make me hungry
string
again.
beans,
Potatoes.
meatloaf, fried chicken.
Are you hungry out there, people?
all right, y'all. Please leave your comments. And where can they find you,
Emmanuel Wright.
handsome gentleman?
Uh-oh. Emmanuel Wright right here, also known as Young Camel Toe. Find me on Instagram at that tag. Also on Twitter at DearVitSpits.
It felt like I felt like they were starting the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers for a hot second. I was like, ugh.
I'm gonna go in.
Swan.
My mixtape.
Al Grag, aka Young Ruski, aka Young Kremlin. You can find me on Twitter at Jamaica House Doc and IG ALG_Jamaica House Film.
She's still shaking her head. See that?
I don't understand why y'all just can't have one name. Like, you guys have, like, it's like every episode you seem to get, like, you add another
AKA.
name.
It's 2017, man. You gotta have all the names. You gotta jump the plank on the names, man.
Thank you, TK. Get in there with us. The water's warm.
Forget all
Come
these.
on, TK. Stop
I
hating.
only have one name. You gotta have more than one name. It's the name of the game.
TK, you got a lot of names. You know, we
Name
got
of
a lot of
fame.
different names for TK.
TK Trinidad.
TK Yakuzi, aka Young Yakuzi,
I'ma shake my head today.
aka roll your eyes all the time at us.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sticking with us, especially those folks from like episode 1 to now.
Don't
We have
roll out.
4 episodes
Stick around.
left. Definitely put all your comments on YouTube. Go on iTunes. We do 5 stars or better. If you have less than 5, don't bother. And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thanks,
TK,
guys.
it's real simple.
AKA
Don't.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.